I would like to welcome you all to the webinar one more time. Hope we are all settled. I could see a lot of people joining in before time, so this gives us a lot of excitement. I would like to start with a famous quote from one of the very famous person, Theodore Roosevelt, which goes as, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles. The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena." Good morning, everybody. My name is Kavya Seth, and I represent my organization called WEN, Women Entrepreneur Network. I would like to welcome all of you to the second edition of a webinar series, three webinar series rather. And our topic for today's webinar is Reignite Your Career, Empower Your Professional Comeback. WEN, Women Entrepreneur Network, with over 200 women entrepreneurs in our network, we are thrilled to partner with an organization like Avery Dennison to help drive progress and innovation in the manufacturing industry for women. It is an absolute pleasure to have you all join us today. We would need you all to stay through the webinar with us today. Today, we honor and celebrate the courage of those who have stepped back into the professional arena after a break, whether due to maternity, sabbaticals, any personal reasons, or unforeseen circumstances like COVID, which almost affected every household. Your presence here signifies a shared commitment to resilience, growth, and the pursuit of purpose. At both Avery Dennison and WEN, we believe that a career break is not a setback, but an opportunity to reinvent and come back with a renewed vigor. Today, we are privileged to have three very, very inspiring women members of the Avery Dennison family with us today. I would like to invite Priyanka Thakral, Najma Moez, and Kanika Handa to the webinar. They will share their personal journeys of making successful comebacks into their professional careers. Before we dive in, I would like to thank, first of all, each one of you to pull out this time and be with us today. Your willingness to embrace new beginnings is what makes gatherings like this more impactful. Let's have a great impact on the session today together, and let's embark on this journey together. First of all, I would like to invite Priyanka Thakral. She is the HR COE Talent Acquisition for Material and Solutions Group APAC for Avery Dennison to deliver the keynote address. Over to you, Priyanka. Priyanka has been, sure, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Kavya. And hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Just a little introduction, of course, with who we are in terms of Avery Dennison, what's our journey, and what are key visions as well for what we are very, very passionate about. Some of the reflections which goes, we are close to about 34,000 employees worldwide. We are about 50 countries. We have our presence. We are a US-based organization. And of course, with our key, deliverables, our sales results also reflecting on the screen. Now, what are our key, passion which we carry, into our day-to-day reflection of our work, which goes without saying, sustainable products, which we are very, very passionate about. Every new fold to our innovation comes with sustainable products, which is the fantastic, and also the futuristic goal too. I'll give you a little example here, of course, to contribution to our organization and their visions. A small, sustainable, what we have done is talent acquisition team itself has introduced a small token of appreciation when somebody joins us in the AD world in South Asia. We plant a tree on their name, and that's a small bit of contribution which we would like to give it to our
Wow.
organization.
Wow. Very nice. Yeah.
To say it all, again, we have our second win, which is the corporate social responsibility, which is again we are very very passionate about. We believe in giving back to the society. To the growth of our society, which is a must. We also have a dedicated employees who are very very passionate and focused on giving the contribution back. Across the country. We partner with various societies. Are also employees also contribute to our drives, frequent drives which we do across. And this is just not to give the learning and education to the society, but also gives a feeling of satisfaction, and achievement of sharing with others. Lastly, but not the least, we have DEI that is very, very passionate again. I would say we all drive this from our heart. It's a contribution which we would like to bring it in the system. The better inclusivity space for diversity across the board from different backgrounds, different orientations. We believe in equal employment opportunity and wishes also to have a woman for our future leaders who can partner our values, our system, our cultures to be the brand to the next level.
Amazing.
Now, a quick, connect. I'm sure we have a small activity here. I would like you all to just use your chat box and list down all these items which you are, having known or probably personally used or seen. Uh, let's just engage a bit. Uh, of course, you need to know that all of these product lines which are just in front of the screen. Can you just use your chat box to just let us know if you are using, them? I'll probably give a second there. Now, all of these products, Avery Dennison has a presence in your everyday life here in India. The items on your screen are all of them that AD does the labeling for. So that's a product listing, and it's no ending list as well. There's a lot. The screen is smaller than the product lines which we have.
And just look at the way chatbox is buzzing right now. We, almost more than 50 people have reverted and saying that okay, they have been using this. In fact, more than that. Yeah, looks interesting.
Oh, that's nice. Yes,
A lot of
yes.
answers actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so we are into the labeling on all of these product lines, which you see it on the screen.
Okay, interesting. So basically, our everyday household products, almost all of them, if I have to say for myself, I think I would have also used a lot of these products. All these labelings are actually by Avery Dennison. So, interesting fact. Thank you, Priyanka, for these insights. My amazement of Avery Dennison's culture and appreciation of performance continues to grow. As we hear how hard and diligently the entire organization strives to ensure such a positive and neutral work environment. When you were explaining those on the previous slide, when you were talking about those blocks from CSR to diversity and to all, I think my amazement was actually increasing with all the points you were mentioning. So thank you for sharing that with us and with our audience. Speaking of which, I would now like to invite our second speaker for the day, Najma Moez. Um, so I recall our preparatory discussions with her, and she emerged as an endearing individual in those conversations, someone who has been able to bloom in every denizen owing to her performance. I'm elated to introduce Najma, our head of HR at Avery Dennison, Pakistan. She's based out of Karachi. She brings with her over 17 years of expertise in HR and particularly in rewards and organization development. She's currently based in Karachi, as I mentioned, and Najma too made a comeback in her professional journey. Welcome, Najma. Really happy to have you here today. Over to you.
Thank you, Kavya. Thank you so much for such a wonderful, intro. Hello, everyone. Hi, audience. I'm very, very excited, to share my story with you. Hope you will get chance to learn something from my story. So I began my career in HR back in 2005, spending around 3 years at an HR consultancy firm before taking on senior HR role at well-renowned multinational company, particularly pharmaceutical, which is like Pfizer and Novo Nordisk, and as well as I worked for some local firm like Hilton Pharma. So I spent around more than a decade, in pharmaceutical industry. So taking a career break wasn't a choice for me. It was something I had to do because my children needed their mom at that time. So I'm
Right.
happily married with two kids and have enjoyed great success in my career since marrying Moise. So Moise is my husband, by the way. I owe a lot to my mother-in-law. Honestly, she's a great, great, great support to me. She was actually the one who was actually taking care of my kids, while I was working. But unfortunately for me, she immigrated to Canada in early 2020. I think this is what we
Oh,
are
okay.
experiencing in South Asia. I think most of the people are experiencing the same, that people are now immigrating to Canada or USA. So similar thing happened, in my case. So at that time, we didn't have any live-in, nanny system. Since she preferred, not to have anyone unfamiliar, in our home. And like old people doesn't like outsider to stay with you full time. So I couldn't have one earlier. But since now she planned to move, so we did try to hire someone, but honestly, I felt very uneasy leaving my kids with stranger. And after onboarding someone, a couple of days after she joined us, my kids were really unhappy and they wanted me to be with them. So I
Oh,
had no
okay.
choice but to take a short break from my career until things get settled down. So honestly, I wanted to join an organization that offered flexibility so I could balance work and taking care of my kids. But unfortunately, again, another unfortunate event happened, and that was a COVID outbreak that occurred right after 2 weeks, of my resignation. So at that time, many companies, put hiring on hold. And I felt like maybe God wanted me to, spend more time with my kids, at that time. So after waiting for about 6 to 8 months, I began receiving, interview call. Luckily, I was able to, through the first round and then the second round. But I don't know, somehow I felt like I wasn't able to be successful in the final one. And again, it is totally my feeling, but in most of the cases, I felt that employer were not okay with the break. But a good thing happened. My luck started working maybe. Unfortunately, after a long search, I received an interview call from Avery Dennison. And honestly, during
Wonderful.
the interview, I wasn't asked about any question related to my career break. Instead, the focus was more on my skills and experience relevant to the role. And honestly, I'm really happy that I made it.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. I'm sure what you said, a lot of what you actually said, must be echoing with a lot of our audience. And I wanted to dwell a little deeper into what do you think are the major challenges? Just you just mentioned a couple of them, right? Children were vocal about the fact that okay, we are unhappy, we don't want to be in this scheme of things. So some of them are definitely those, but what are other major challenges that people wanting to make a comeback, they are eager to make a comeback in their careers, but they might face, in that process? Could you share a little more of your experiences? We get that about the support system and, about children, but then any other thing you think that, you would like to share with our audience?
Yeah. So, as per my observation in South Asia, the acceptance of career break, both for women and men, not only for women, but for men also, it's still very low. I experienced that many interviewers were very uncomfortable with my career break. And most of them were asking why I left my previous job, although I did mention my reason. But it seems like they were not really convincing, about my reason. Unfortunately, taking career break is not often viewed positively by employer. Maybe the interviewer perceived that the individual lacks commitment to work because maybe he's thinking that the person is job hopper, or maybe a skill gap if the employment breaks is longer. But I still feel, the individual or the interviewer should, see the overall, experience, not just the gap. And frankly speaking, when I mentioned that I made it through the first and second round, so in first round usually is run by HR. So being an HR professional, I can say very confidently that HR is not being biased, in this process. So I would here, would like to address the decision maker, the other leadership, individual other than HR. I think you need to see the overall picture rather than, just looking at the break only. So there is one instance, during an interview when I mentioned my salary expectation was like 20-30%. They asked me and I said, yeah, 20-30% salary increase I expect. So the
Okay.
interviewer was really surprised and he said that you're not currently employed. So how can you expect a raise? You should consider you're accepting the same salary or even less. Honestly, this was pretty disheartening. I was thinking with around 17 years of experience, I couldn't understand why a year and a half break would negatively impact, my career. But
Right.
honestly, I'm
Yeah.
happy, Kavya, that there are organizations like Avery Dennison who are more understanding and embrace such breaks. They focus on the capabilities, competencies, and experience candidates bring to the table. So I would suggest to the audience, and the same thing I have done, during my break, that while you're on break, keep yourself updated what's happening around you relevant to your field, attend webinars like this kind of a thing, and take online courses, again, relevant to your field if needed. So I would say don't lose hope, keep applying. The right organization will definitely find you soon.
Right, right. Thank you for sharing these, insights, Najma. It takes a lot to talk about, your journey, and thank you for sharing that with the audience. In fact, I could, while you were speaking, I could see, couple of comments coming in the chat, and there were people writing back that, I saw echo this, I saw connect with this. It was very relatable, what you just mentioned. So, I would also like to now bring Priyanka here for a bit. And I want to, I have an inquiry about her observations about the challenges which, Najma just spoke about, Priyanka. So, when a comeback or a returnee candidate is in the Avery Dennison interview process or the selection process, how does the organization ensure that the focus of the process is the capability of the candidate and not their reasons for coming back?
Thanks, Kavya, for this question. And I think it's very relevant to the audience as well. And thanks, Najma, for sharing it in detail. Coming to the talent acquisition, the hiring process is very simple and smooth. Our hiring is, to find the future leaders. We hire potential for future, and not to fill the roles in the immediate, situations. We do a 360-degree assessment, which is, of course, emotional, logical, competency based, like what, Najma just mentioned. We want to partner with people who want to build their careers, their futures, and also open to learn and adapt with the growing era. And we do have some bit of cognitive assessments, which are more as a support on the assessments and not the elimination factors. We don't assess because of someone's break in career or various other reasons
Sure.
for being away from the corporate. It is a having a cultural driven, a very strong value guidelines, structured and principles. It's a US based MNC. Recruitment process does not get diluted because of someone's background or breaks. Elimination is more around that if someone's competency is lesser than the other competitive applicant. So Yeah, and I think that's a very valid factor these days as well.
Okay, so it all depends upon the competency you bring to the table, and not about the career gaps. And this is just so inspiring and interesting to hear because, a lot of times, uh, you know, sometimes not deliberately, but a lot of selection processes across organization can go a little biased about career breaks and sabbaticals. But this is very inspiring and interesting to know from both of you about the selection process at Avery Dennison. Thank you, Priyanka. So Najma, coming back to you, once you joined Avery Dennison, what were your realizations about how does the organization facilitate someone who makes a comeback? I mean, any specific points you would like to share with our audience today?
Sure. So I echo what my teammates just mentioned to you about the culture and all that. Every Dennison, places a strong emphasis on diversity and foster an inclusive culture to attract the right talent. So when I say the
Okay.
right talent, it means individual with the right capability and skills to excel in their role. So my onboarding experience has been fantastic. I feel both welcomed and valued here. My land manager, my teammates, and the Pakistan leadership team, as I'm actually part of the Pakistan leadership team, they are incredibly supportive. I have fortnightly check-ins that started, from my onboarding time, and it's still, the check-ins are there with my manager, and weekly sessions with the country head, with the country GM, where I have an opportunity, to discuss my challenges and success. I receive timely feedback for my professional development, and also I receive appreciation if I do well. But honestly, above all, the best thing they have offered me is flexibility in my work, which is exactly I was looking for, once this COVID thing happened and then my mother-in-law went.
Oh, okay. Okay. I so resonate with you. I did not share this, but I also made two comebacks. So this is really interesting, Najma and Priyanka, to know this from you. Do stay around, Najma. I would say our audience might love to interact with you during the Q&A as well towards the fag end of the session. So just stay there. Thank you so much, for being our speaker today. Moving on, I would like to invite our third speaker for today uh, from Avery Dennison, India. She is a seasoned management professional currently focused on navigating supply chain complexities to build operational resilience across the APAC region at AD India. She has been a part of LEAP, Leadership Accelerators program, that grooms young leaders in the organization, Avery Dennison. Welcome to the webinar, Kanika. Happy to have you here. We would love to hear your career journey with AD. Alongside, we would also want to hear about your experiences of planning a planned comeback, making a planned comeback rather. So, just lead us into this beautiful journey. Over to you, please.
Thanks, Kavya. Good morning to everyone. Hello to everyone. And thanks, Kavya, for the lovely introduction, of course, and also convening a very important conversation today. Coming back to me, I have close to 10 years of experience, like you said, experience majorly in supply chain across few multinationals that I work with, like Unilever, Coca-Cola, Mars, and now Avery Dennison. And during this time, I got chance to get exposure to work in organizations with different industries, cultures, demographies, team sizes, values as well. So this is a bit about my career background. On personal front, my husband Surbet works in HR function in banking sector primarily. We got married 7 years back, and we are blessed with two kids: a beautiful 4-year-old daughter Adaira, and boy Sabat, who just turned 1 recently. And with two kids, I took maternity break twice in my career. The very
Okay.
recent one completed early this year, around February, while I also completed 3 years in this organization. So
wow,
since
wonderful.
since I took maternity break twice, I had few learnings from the first one that which I sort of implemented in the second break, and which also helped me in navigating my return in a more structured and planned way. And I would like to share my learnings with wider audience so that they can implement the same and see how that works for them. So before going into the break, while I was still working, I planned my deliverables, my projects in a way that I was able to complete most crucial milestones before the break.
Okay.
And this is something that I worked in a very collaborative way with my manager. I took him into confidence and asked for all the support that I needed to do this. And he was also on board with this.
Okay.
Also, during the break, instead of being in a total blackout mode, I ensured that I was in touch with my colleagues and team members to get feelers on how the deliverables, how the outcomes are shaping up. In fact, I was also given an opportunity to present my project outcomes to leadership while I was on break, projects that I was quite passionate about. So since all of this was planned in advance, it did not consume a lot of my time then, and I was able to spend quality time with both my little ones.
Okay.
One thing that I would like to share with the audience here is we should leverage some of the qualities that come to us mothers very naturally. Things like inculcating self-discipline, time management, multitasking, consistency. Uh, these are things that are very natural to us and really helps us in these kind of situations where we have to manage more in a very limited time. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, so thank you for sharing this. This is really something to talk about. So a lot of us think that okay, we want to make a comeback, but then we don't really plan a lot of things around. So very inspiring that you spoke about planning. Your break as well as planning a comeback. Um, did you have like so you just thought about this plan, or you had like a detailed plan of how to come back and assimilate even the speed, because a lot of times people are able to come back, right? But sustaining that comeback and also picking up the speed, the required speed. So what do you think about that, and what do you think when people are returning to work can do? So any insights on that, please?
Sure. I think returning from maternity break is even the more crucial transition. One of the very,
Absolutely.
I would say, one of the very emotionally challenging time for new parent, new mothers, especially, where
Right.
they have to part with their baby and, come back to work. And I think a little more empathy, sensitivity, regular open conversations, check-in from those around us, whether that is family, whether that is colleagues, managers, anyone. It really goes a long way in this transition. And we should extend that help with any new mother that is undergoing that kind of transition. And this is something which I see is a very important value in Avery Dennison. I have personally seen that. So, for example, while I was away, I was kept in loop for major developments that I have nothing, there is no stake for me as such, but still
Okay.
changes,
Okay.
etc. with me.
Okay.
I feel more included that way, more confident that way. That yes, we are staying informed with respect to those kind of developments. In fact, my manager used to have open regular conversation with me during the break, as run up to break getting over, on my preferences, my concern, the support required during this time, so that I can share my feedback on the same. And when my return was due, my manager reached out to me with a proposal of an alternate role. which
Okay.
would potentially open more doors of learning and growth for me. So not just returning to work, but also returning in a new role. That
Right.
was a bit
Right.
of a more bigger challenge for me. So I deliberated on the same, and I accepted. And again, did little bit of more planning to ease myself into this new role. So just before starting back, what I did, I attended few connects to learn more about the new stakeholders, new priorities, processes. So these kind of connects and check-ins really helped me in entering the new role quite seamlessly, and helped
Right.
me in fixing my return with much more confidence. Of course, like Najma also mentioned earlier, flexible work arrangement during this time, during this transition times, helped me in balancing new work responsibilities, where you also have to learn about new role while taking care of an event. This really goes a long way. And needless to say, all of us women should leverage without any guilt our support system. And that includes our partners, our family, our colleagues, our managers, our leadership, and ask for support uh, to navigate this crucial transition time. There should not be any
Absolutely.
guilt associated with this.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, I have two very important takeaways from what you just said. One was definitely leverage your support system, ask for help wherever you can, and, make them a part of this journey, your career, your comeback. And also, when you said that, um, your folks at work reached out to you, said that, okay, there's a different role. So a lot of times what happens, Kanaka, and I think a lot of audience will resonate with it. Sometimes we feel, okay, change might not be very good, right? So instead of looking at a different role like that, you saw it as an opportunity, and you said, okay, I'm coming back after the maternity leave, and this is a new role. So let me see how I, kind of work around this role, right? So I think that openness of yours as well has to be applauded. So, I would like to, definitely mention that. And also, I understand that you also got a surprise, when you came back, right? So, what was the surprise? I mean, can you just share with all of us? Can you just let us know?
Yeah, so when I returned, not only my role got changed, I also got promoted when I
Oh,
joined back
okay.
into the new role. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it was little bit of surprise. It would be incorrect on my part if I say I did not have any apprehensions regarding my performance assessment and outcomes before I started the break. Uh, but this experience as well, Kavya, also demonstrates a non-discriminatory performance evaluation process, which many people would resonate with. This could be a concern when a person goes on a leave, how their performance will be evaluated. They would have those kind of questions or concerns in their mind. So this
Right.
shows that the environment is really indeed non-discriminatory. Also, from my point of view, I had very clear, measurable objectives aligned in the beginning of the year. And this is something which happens for everyone, all the employees here. And we have regular check-ins. I used to have regular check-ins to review progress against all of those. And I delivered all of those objectives in lesser time.
Okay.
In fact, I was working for 8 months in a 12-month calendar, and I delivered most of the deliverables in that time. So, like I said earlier, some of those qualities, time management, etc., comes to our rescue when we have to deliver on work front as well. And now, when I look back, I can say for sure when performance meets an unbiased environment, the magic happens.
Oh,
And
so right. Yeah.
I often reflect on this quote that I recently heard from tennis legend Roger Federer. He said that effortless is a myth. So it is disrespecting the effort of the person by saying it was so effortless. Nothing is effortless. Every
So right.
positive outcome has lot of unwavering perseverance, consistency, and even sacrifices at the back end. Maybe it is not very visible to everyone. So it's important to have that positive outlook, being a little more open, ask for support, and put in the consistent effort. That is
Right.
something that I would like to say.
So interesting. Consistent effort, is a very interesting and a positive, takeaway, I would say. So inspired. I'm personally very inspired. In fact, I would also like to invite Najma here as well. Najma, can we have you? If you can just share your views about this aspect, please.
Yes, I totally agree, with Kanika. And a very inspiring story, by the way. And honestly, I have got similar kind of experience, when I joined back career, or I joined Avery Dennison. And I would like to share an interesting experience with you all that, I spent about 7 to 8 years in manufacturing environment, during which I managed blue collar staff and union for about a year. I'm sure those who are working in manufacturing setup have an idea what does blue collar staff mean and what does union mean. Although I had no prior experience, managing a charter of demand. Again, a charter of demand, maybe a new word for those who doesn't work, in manufacturing setup. A charter of demand is a long, list of demand you receive from, blue collar staff or the collective bargaining agent, which is usually, usually, no, I should say every time it is very unreasonable. And, meeting their demand and, within companies given budget and timeline is always a big challenge. So I received this, right after, I joined the organization, which I was supposed to finalize within 8 to 9 months period of time and within budget. And then another interesting fact was that I had no IR manager at that time, since the position was vacant, and I had no prior experience, deal with the COD or Charter of Demand. So this was completely my first ever experience. So, technically in this situation, I should have feel like that, oh, I'm going to fail because I've never, conducted this COD thing. But honestly, I didn't find it challenging at all, as the entire management team was there to support me. My land manager, who doesn't, based in Pakistan, he's based in Sri Lanka. So he traveled, all the way to Pakistan, for the initial negotiation session. And the country leadership was consistently available there, providing their full support to ensure the negotiations were successful. So with their backing and trust in me, I was able to close the Charter of Demand in record time. When I say record time, it means record time. So it's just 5 meetings over 3 months period of time, and the COD was closed. Well, to the best of my knowledge, honestly, I don't think so. I don't know about India, but in Pakistan, I think none of the individual have, closed this charter of demand within 3 months period of time. I think the lowest may be 6 months or 7 or 8, but 3 months I've never heard. So I think the entire credit here I would like to, give to the management team. And here I would like to say the same thing what my teammate was saying, that I also believe that anyone can achieve exceptional performance in an engaging, inclusive, and supportive culture. So I would say I was the lucky one, and I was able to deliver, and meet the expectation of organization.
Right. This is actually super inspiring. Thank you, all of you. In fact, I can see the chat box almost like buzzing. I mean, when you were speaking, I saw there are over 99 people, echoing what we are saying. They resonate with this. This is very, very inspiring. One important aspect that we need to discuss, about the entire phenomena of comebacks, I think, and it's high time that, taking breaks should be like professional, this is like one of the professional needs, and, this has to be normalized, across, right? So I think that is something which all of us, need to kind of really work and do. And I observed that after this conversation, especially, I observed that every Dennison is already putting a lot of emphasis, huge emphasis on normalization, right? So, of work life, personal life, without losing that emphasis of performance. When Priyanka said in the beginning of the conversation that it is around the competencies and not what amount of break you come with, or when Najwa, you said that, leadership was so supportive, in kind of, take you through that charter of demand and close it. Kanika, when you spoke about coming back and doing a planned comeback, I think all these instances truly tells what Avery Dennison is all about, and I'm so excited to be a part of this journey. My question to Najma and Kanika, right now would be that how do you see people around you reacting to this culture of normalization? Because a lot of times we are not we are not we are more used to the fact that okay, this is treated separate, exceptionally, and not like normal, right? So would you like to share some insights with our audience on that, please?
I would like to say first. So,
Yeah, please.
AD places strong emphasis on inclusive culture. So, individual returning to their career break don't feel out of place, honestly, here, because we have great support system, available. So they receive support from their teammate, the line manager, to help them adjust well in the workplace. So as I mentioned earlier, that our company offers work from home options for those who need them, and I also take advantage of this. And the good part about AD is that it prioritizes skill, capabilities, performance, and deliverable, and it also offers extensive support to employees to help them meet organization goal. So if anyone returning back from their career receive great support from their overall teammate, from line manager, the development need, if it's there, they're going to get the right training and development. If they would want any kind of flexibility, it is also available over there. And I am one of the example, and Kanika also shared her story. So it is wonderful, coming back to the organization if the organization have such kind of offerings.
Right. Yes, Kanika, please.
So, Kavya, I would totally, absolutely echo with Najma on this one. I believe that inclusion is one value, one key value that AD really, really prioritizes. And I think it really stems from how leadership, management, it views pride and prioritizes well-being of all the employees, right? And it percolates into all the policies that they design, whether that is training or other flexibility arrangements, etc. And this sort of sends a positive message across the organization, right? And as I said, that there is strong focus on performance. Individuals are also supported with their respective needs as well, from managers, leadership, teammates, whenever they return from break. So that support goes both ways. This way, everybody has that level playing field, equal opportunity to really thrive, learn, and grow. And I believe that these kind of shifts in organization culture, not just in Avery Dennison, but yeah, across industry, will normalize comeback culture going forward. This will bring a change.
Wow, very, very interesting. And I have Priyanka here as well, and I'm very keen, and I'm sure so is the audience, to hear your observations as well, Priyanka, on on this about the normalization of comebacks. Over to you.
Yes, I think I'm so proud to second the statements shared by Kanika and Najma. Thanks for sharing, and I think I also resonate with the fact that Every Dennison is a very progressive organization. So where people would also not be judged from what backgrounds you are from, or probably what where you coming in from, why somebody has taken a break. It's more welcoming to the talent who are contributing to the growth of the organization, and also to the values and goals which is collective. um, somewhere it's very well said. It's the key and the success of an organization is its resources, which is people, and for us it's our employees.
Right. Right, right. Thank you, all of you. What an interesting, extremely interesting, I would rather say, aspect of an organization that, it is about the competencies, not the breaks. It is about the normalization of coming back. It is not about, you're treated differently. I think a lot of us need to talk, like that, and also live the culture. So, a huge kudos to Avery Dennison and the team out here, doing that. With this, ladies and gentlemen, we are like, entering the phase of Q&A, and I see a lot of, while there are a lot of people who are resonating with us, but, there are some questions also coming in. So start putting your questions in the chat box, and we will be happy to, address them right now itself. And I would request my associates to open the Q&A by posting questions that have come from the audience already. I also want to inform the audience that, post this call, we will share the link to the Every Dennison job portal, where all open requirements, as in roles in India, are currently listed. So you can see, you can please send your resumes for any relevant role you think that you fit in, and basis the instructions which are mentioned there, and kind of take it forward from there. So yeah, are we all good with that? Yeah. Okay, so let me just now go to the chat box quickly and start looking at questions. Okay, so I will start from the start. So okay. I must say the activity, a lot of people participated. So this is very interesting. Thank you for staying through the session. So there are a lot of people who are basically were resonating with the sentiments, your stories today. So I wanted to share that with our speakers. Okay. So there are some of the questions my associates have already answered. Okay, so let me pick up some interesting questions here. So there's a question, and I think we would like Priyanka to address this. So there's a question from one of the audience saying that, do you have any returnship program for women on a career break? So Priyanka, over to you.
Thank you so much for this question. There's no different program, like I said, but we welcome to the for all the lateral hires, all the positions which are there with a on our career website. You would be equally evaluated like the other candidates. The career breaks are not a judgmental or an elimination for us, but indeed, we take it as an equal participation on somebody who's applying for the roles, and we evaluate them like we are doing it for others. So you would be one of the applicants like the others with the breaks in between, but that is not our elimination, like I said. So there's no specific programs. We don't need to run that because we are living by what we are saying. So we have invited, we have lot many people who have joined. You have an experience which shared from Kanika, from Rajma, that they have come back, and there's no different program as such. So you apply for the
Okay.
position, and if you are evaluated and you are there, of course, you will be a part of ED.
Sure. So, so I will actually club another question with this because I was going through the chat box. So, Priyanka, we all understand normalization and the normalization in the selection process, but is this an option for anybody to make a career change? So maybe they came with they have done work, and they had a particular skill, but now they are looking at reskilling and joining AD. Would there be options like that? Would there be options like that? Would you like to take up that question too?
Thanks for this question, and why not? You know, the question is why not? If you have built your like what Najma just mentioned, that even when you are there on the break, you need to upgrade yourself. You need to enhance your skills. What you would like to take up in future. And if you are there, you have taken some courses, you've done some bit of working while on your breaks. You would like to apply for a position which is not been your past experience, and you have the competencies while on the interview skills. Like we said, we do pair up with our competency levels, our cultural ways of assessment. So why not? And you have examples there.
Okay, wonderful. In fact, I just want to read out a couple of comments, as in, the feelings here, I would say. And the first one goes for Najma. Najma, someone from the audience is saying that, Najma's journey boosts and provides hope. So I thought, I must share that with you.
Thank you.
For you, Kanaka, somebody just, wrote that, it is such a pleasure to hear from Kanaka Handa and learn about an inspiring experience of making a planned comeback. I think that is, that is a wonderful point. So I thought I'll also, while we are
Thanks a lot.
discussing questions, I must share this as well. We totally love these remarks, comments. Thank you so much for sharing that. Also, a lot of audience did ask questions while we were having a conversation around open requirements. So I would also like to share one more time that we will definitely be sharing the link on about the listing of open requirements, and you can go and kind of apply there appropriately. Let me just move forward now, and then multiple comments saying that these stories are a definite confidence booster. Thank you so much for such amazing remarks. Let's move forward and look at a couple of more questions which have come. Okay.
So Kavya,
Okay, yeah,
Kavya,
please,
yeah, there
Najma.
is one
Yeah,
question which I read and very close to my heart,
yeah,
and I would
please,
like to answer that. The question
please,
is the
please.
age matters for return to work after career gap? Honestly, I did face this kind of a challenge. Let me share, I'm 45-year-old, and I'm working as head of HR since past a decade nearly. So I was finding a lot of, difficulty, while appearing for interview for an organization which I wanted to, go for. But, over there was an age restriction that, 35, 35 and below or 40 and below. So I was 45. So I was facing a lot of challenge, to apply for those organizations where I felt like, okay, I should go for it. So good part about AD is that they don't care about the age as well. They only see competencies. They
Wow.
only see, your skills, your experience that you're bringing in. So again, here I would say age matters for certain organization, but there are organizations like Avery Dennison who only focuses on your skills and capability and experience.
Oh, wow, wonderful. What an interesting aspect to answer. Thank you for taking up that question, the age bit as well. Also there's an interesting question coming, and I think Kanika, you would want to answer that. So there's a question from the audience saying that would there be support on learning, while you're making a comeback? So I think you were one of the examples of you're a part of leap program, and so would you like to throw a little light on the learning and development aspect of this comeback for you?
Absolutely. Learning and development is again one of the strong pillar for not only just skill development, but also to prepare yourself for the next role, growth, etc. It's very critical for all of us, and there is a lot of focus here. Many training programs keep running. There is dedicated LNOD team which plans these programs. There are options of self-nomination. We can
Okay.
work with our manager to align on what would be suitable training programs for us. There is, in fact, like you said, that I was part of the lead program and it went on for 6 months, where I got coaching for developing leadership skills. I also went back to campus for 2 day
Okay.
strategy learning program in MDI. So there are a lot of learning and development programs available. It's important that we, take advantage of that, work with our manager and decide what is suitable for us, and how are we, onus is on us to decide and, plan our career development along with that.
I'm sure. So, so of course, they think for us, but then, we also need to think for ourselves, right? Is what your point is. So thank you for answering that, Kanika. I have another question, and I think, Nachma, would like you to answer that question. So we understand that, comebacks at Avery Dennison are treated, with a lot of normalization, right? But, their audience who are keen to understand that, once you come in, right, then how do you advance into leadership roles, right? And particularly in fields like, so to say, supply chain or procurement, anything specifics on that? Have you, would you like to throw a little light on, advancing into the leadership roles, once you kind of are part of the system? So, yeah, over to you.
Okay, so here, in this kind of organization where change is something permanent and you're growing faster. So when you're growing faster, it means you're gonna get involved in new projects. So I always suggest, over here as a head of HR to a new joiners as well, not only those who come back, that whenever you get opportunity, or your supervisor give you opportunity to be part of any project, grab it. Don't say that it is not written in my JD, so I'm not going to do it. So anything that you
Right.
do beyond your JD is going to help you, to move to another, level. And that's what I think I did, and I'm sure the rest of, Kanika and Priyanka must have done the same. So, and this kind of opportunity you get a lot in Avery Dennison. And apart from this, we do have a very strong, learning and development program in place. We do have regional support, global support, and local support is also there. Many times what happened, when supervisor nominates someone, a lot of, individual doesn't sign up or show up, to the training. They feel like, oh, I'm busy with meeting and all that. So don't,
Okay.
lose those
Yeah.
kind of opportunity, grab it, because this is going to help you, in the end. It's going to take a while, but it will definitely help you, to move up. So these are the opportunity where you get chance to explore your own skills, also, to show others, how good you are, at whatever field you're in. And then this is how you're going to get, promotion and then, succession to a critical role.
Sure. So, look at every opportunity like an opportunity and not like a burden, because any learning and development opportunity or any work opportunity is going to only leverage and help advancing your career, is what we understand. Thank you, Najma, for answering that. This brings me to the next question, and I think, Priyanka, we would like to hear from you. So there are certain questions which are coming towards, do we have technical roles open in India or non-technical roles open in India? And with the technical, if there is an opportunity in a technical field, would there be a work from home option or a hybrid option? Priyanka, would like you to take up that question.
So we keep coming up with the positions, and whenever there is any role, technical, non-technical, we place it on our career website, right? I would advise that reach out to our career website, log in there, check on the positions which are available. Of course, the job descriptions are very well and intense details have been given. Assess yourself that you are suitable for this role or you would like to pick up this as your career. You may feel free to apply, and of course, there would be a recruiter assessing on the parameters which they have. Of course, there are some CTQs for the technical specifically. When it comes to the second question you mentioned, Kanika, was on the.
So I actually mentioned that, if somebody's somebody has a technical background, would it be possible to have a work from home in a technical side of things? So yeah, that was my question. That was my second, part two of the question, basically.
Thank you. So, whether it is technical, non-technical, it totally depends on the position. And there are some roles which require in person somebody to meet up and, of course, work in a collaborative environment where you expected to be into the office. But if there are
Right.
roles which requires a remote and does not have too much of a collaboration, so in that cases we do have the flexibility there. But having said this, it all depends on the role. Collaboration is our key, right? The success, like I said, when you meet up with people, we get energies, we get to exchange the discussions. There are some brainstorming session which happens. So it all depends on the role, how the role is all about. And it's a mix of both.
Okay. 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 So there are a lot of questions. Thank you for answering that. There are a lot, we have a couple of minutes left. I would like my associates to share the link with the audience about the open job roles and the listings. So there are questions around, is there an opportunity in Pune? So I think all that will be answered once you kind of, scan this code and kind of reach to the listings and understand that, what are these roles all about, and the locations should be mentioned there, the skill requirements should be mentioned there. Um, you know, um, there is an interesting point which came, and I want to take that up before we kind of, close this very, very interesting conversation. Somebody mentioned that, I have a gap of 6 years, I have a gap of 10 years. So what gap you know, uh, is normalized, or probably is normal for AD? I mean, any, any, any inputs on that, Nachma, probably Priyanka, if both of you would like to actually take up, because you're looking after different, regions. So yeah, I mean, would you like to take up, any one of you?
So, Kavya, as I mentioned that what my observation was during the interview, and as an HR, since I also conduct the interview and assess candidates, the
Right.
fear usually interviewer has, there are many reasons, but I think one of the fear is that, okay, that individual lacks of skills because the person was away from, the industry or work for pretty longer period of time. So the assurity one can give if that person has, constantly, taking online courses, attending webinar and all that. So that person can, include all those, experiences, because that's also an experience, in their resume, and then sell, his or herself, then it is possible. However, when you say equal employment opportunities, so you need to be, mindful that other than you, there are multiple more candidates who may be more, competent compared to you, and offering better, skills and capability. So here you need to keep yourself up to date if there is a long gap, and if you're intending to come back to your career. So that's what my feel is. Over to you,
Sure.
Priyanka.
Sure.
Yeah, could not agree better what you said, Najma. And I think it's all about, it's not numbers, right? It's not about 6 year, 10 years. It's about the skill enhancements. Like we just mentioned, that of course you need to upgrade yourself to come back to the corporate, and you need to have those, of course, the set skills and the competencies. And career breaks is very normal. We should be treating it as a very normal factor today. And I think towards the the organization is very progressive as well. So I think it's very well summarized by you, Najma.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, both of you. In fact, while I don't want to leave the Q&A discussion still, but yes, of course, we have to take care of the time as well. So we shall get back on any unanswered questions offline with our audience. But thank you so much for an amazing participation in the Q&A as well. We are now about to, close the session. And if I may request our keynote speaker, Priyanka, to please deliver a word of thanks to the audience today.
First of all, thank you so much for being with us. Thanks for your participation. I think it has been a great exchange. Thanks, Kavya, for navigating this. I would request the audience, please go and visit our website. And the reflections have been given. All what you need to do is select the career page, go to the particular location, go to the department, and wherever you would like to apply for. The open roles and the positions are very well placed in there. We will be happy to partner with you. Yeah.
Right, wonderful. Thank you, Priyanka. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Najma and Kanika, in this conversation today. Thank you to all three of you. And to, of course, our audience. I enjoyed it a lot, and I wish that, we were together for longer time, but then we shall come back with the next webinar soon. And I'm sure our audience would also like to, participate all the time. To the audience, I would say that, please do check in the open, roles and send in your resume suitably. Thank you for joining us today and giving your 1 hour to us. Until next time, goodbye, and please take good care of yourself. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Take care.
Thank you.